Hello, welcome to Staring Down the Storm, Autism Advocacy in America. I'm your host, Tabitha Ziegler. Hello again, everybody. We're back with a few new guests. I'm going to let them introduce themselves and we'll just get right into it. So, good morning, guys.
Good morning, Tabitha.
Hicham, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good morning. My name is Moulay Hicham Aamalki, and my wife.
My name is Kenia Aamalki.
And we are the founders and the hosts of Ease Healing Retreat.
Well, very glad to have you. So let's just get right into it. How about we start with a little bit of the origin story and how you guys came about this idea?
I think, first of all, I feel the urge to take this opportunity to thank you and to tell you in a nutshell that we have a tremendous amount of respect and admiration for what you do and for willingly taking the stand to being the voice in such a busy world, especially being a mom and you have so much on your plate. So we have so much respect for that. And thank you for carving this space for us to be here. We're very grateful.
Well, I'm happy to be here with you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You want to go ahead, Bebe, and tell them about how we start with this idea?
Absolutely. Very happy to share. And again, Tabitha, thank you so much for having us here. Like Hicham said, we're very grateful and thank you for being the voice for so many out there that feel like they don't have it. And you are definitely doing something great for the world. So we're incredibly grateful. East Healing Retreats, this beautiful vision started a long time ago. We have been through grief. We have been through challenging moments, just like everybody else. Some of us know how to deal with it. Some of us don't. Life can get a little challenging sometimes. And we have had some death in our families. We've had to heal from childhood things. And we wanted also, just like you, be the voice for others that also have a hard time expressing themselves, bringing themselves out there to express what's going on with them, how they're feeling inside. And Hicham and I wanted to carve a space for people that want to not necessarily go into and see not everybody's open to seeing a therapist and talk about their emotions. And so we decided to carve this space where they feel free to come travel with us, open up to us if that's what they want, in a different setting that is not here, but in a different country,
Right.
as Morocco is absolutely beautiful. So we decided that we wanted to start doing retreats in Morocco, carve that space for anyone that wants to join. And as we have traveled to Morocco, Hicham is from Morocco. Our children have traveled to Morocco, and Morocco is home to me. I adopted that beautiful place as my home, and I have found some healing there myself. And my children, our children, have found healing there themselves. One of our daughters has ADHD. And so we have had to also heal from that. It's not, we have our challenges too. And we find that every time we go to Morocco or we travel to places like Jordan and Saudi Arabia, those beautiful Arab countries, we find so much healing. People there are beautiful, hospitality, humility, everything about it, the soil, the smells. And so our daughter always finds healing when she goes there and comes back a different person. So between our healing, her healing, everything that we have been through, we decided that Morocco would be the perfect place to start doing healing retreats. And that's how all this was born. So it is a vision, it is a dream, and it is something that we wanted to carve for everyone that wants to come along.
That's beautiful. So, Hicham, we have a long history that we probably should let people in on a little bit. Hicham and I used to work together at the airlines for probably about 17 years off and on. We were both French speakers. So, we've got a little bit more insight into some of these different cultures that people in the Midwest, especially, may not have access to. So, Hicham, maybe you want to talk a little bit more about your heritage and why that's so profound, the area of Morocco in your life, in your spiritual healing, and why you think it's such a perfect place to do healing work.
Thank you, Tabitha. Where do I start? Um, I find it's vital to, before I dive in to answer that question, which is an amazing question, I find it's very vital to set the tone for where is this going. Before we have gotten this divine gift of awakening to see and understand and learn um, the importance of having to have different lenses. We were in the victimhood stage like everybody else, and there are different stages of healing. So when you're going through anything that we all go through, we are so consumed with the story, what happened to us, and each story that we experience, we subconsciously attach a meaning to it. Like, oh my God, this happened to me, or we attach a meaning to it that dictate the emotional state of being that we end up having and wearing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, well, we were going through a life before the awakening. We didn't know about the other stages. The other stages is you take the inner journey through mindfulness and stillness and whatever practices that works for the individuals. For us, meditation was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Kenya lost her dad and her brother, and she had to bury them within one day in between. They passed away or transitioned 10 months apart, but they had to be buried in one day. And I can't even describe the grief that she had to go through. And at the time, I had a nerve damage from my neck from an injury on the job, turbulence.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it was COVID. Again, this is a story which everyone has one. The meanings that we attach to those stories, those emotional states of being, are undescribable. When it comes to a feeling, everybody's feeling must be validated. We can't discuss how someone feels. That's just how they feel about it. So there was a lot of victimhood going on, which we didn't understand and we didn't recognize, we weren't aware of. When we started doing the work, we realized that everyone, at least that was our understanding, operates from pain, operates and sees life through their own lenses. And their individual lenses are pretty much just made from an entire belief system. And what that is basically a software of all the information that we acquired from our childhood and our upbringing. Things that we have learned, this is right, this is wrong, this is good, this is safe. And those becomes that belief system. For example, in my case, my dad was a very perfectionist teacher, in the education field. Getting an A as a grade was not enough. Being picked and selected in a sport team of the entire high school was not enough. So that experience and whatever meaning I attached to it and how I was impacted, this is just an example. The intent is not to talk about the story, but to explain the cycle and the steps of how we got to where we are now. That experience impact the individual so massively to where as adults we are the product of everything we've been through. So as an adult, prior to the awakening, I was doing everything in an overwhelming way. I was given, if people gave certain things as a gift, I want to, like, if let's say I'm invited to a guest house and they say, oh, you can bring a dessert, I want to bring a plethora, a buffet of desserts. If I want to buy a gift from my wife from a trip coming from India, or I want to bring not just one pashmina, like 5. So I had to overperform. So that being mindful of that being a dormant to that behavior prior to the awakening was just a normal. That's just my normal. Being mindful and aware, which is very vital of our actions, allowed me to see, why am I acting the way am I acting? What's because of the root of that behavior came from my belief system, and my belief system came from my own upbringing. So mindfulness is extremely important for people to press the brakes and just have an honest conversation within themselves, decide to be vulnerable. It's a very surface talk nowadays. You talk to people, how you doing, where do you live, oh my god, I have children too, and it becomes very surface. But everyone is going through so much. So have the ability, the awareness, the mindfulness to be vulnerable and have a deep conversation. It will make people feel seen, understood, and I think that's where healing takes place. So the other stages of healing from victimhood, once you do the work, you go to survival mode. You learn the tools how to cope. You become a survivor. Then you pass that and you become a warrior. Now you got the tools. You're no longer acting and reacting out of an autopilot response. Now you're very mindful of your actions and reactions. You sat with your inner child, you nurture the emotion, you got to the root of why you're acting the way you're acting, you're okay with it, you become very grounded. So now you're no longer just surviving, now you're a warrior, because you deal with things as a husband, as a dad, with colleague, whatever the circumstances are, you deal with them in a much better way. The stage after that, you become a thriver, which is the stage that we would like to think that we're at. So now we're thriving. What Now that we discovered the gift, now that we are grateful for this divine opportunity of awakening, of being mindful, how can we obey the calling of becoming of service? What can we give the community? How can we pay back? We want to spread the light and the love for everyone, to also to pause, go within, take a retreat, go on a walk, nurture your inner child, see what's behavior, what reaction, what's your triggers, what's the root behind your triggers. And it's through this very honest and comfortable conversation and work, we crawl into our intended version that we are supposed to be, because everything else we've been for the last 30, 40, 50 years is infinite numbers of layers of false identification that just was built up through false and inaccurate belief system, from what people told us, what the teacher told me when I was in 7th grade, what my dad told me was on 9th grade. So we have to face that reality and say, is that really who I am? Or is it, this is the identification that the circumstances, my path, my journey made me believe that this is my identification? We're not who we think we are. We are the awareness of what's happening to us. We're not the sadness. It's just it's an emotion that's coming and it's not permanent. So it's through this mindfulness and healing took a home for us. So we're a better parent to our children. We're thriving because of this awareness that we would like to pass on. Now, to my roots, I was born in Casablanca, Morocco. 2 brothers and 2 sisters, a wonderful family, very loving. I had to come to the the United States. I was invited by Walt Disney World initially to be part of an international exchange program. So that's how my journey started, and this is how this wonderful, amazing country of the United States of America became home. And back to the awareness and the awakening, every time I had gone to Morocco, I felt this entire vibe and frequency. It's safe, chill. Adult, they touch children in their head. They pray, "Hey, may God bless you." And my kids, they go there and they feel safe. Here in America, we have to follow them to the facilities, inside any restaurant we go to, inside a theme park. They're cannot be outside of our sight. We have to follow them. That's just the way it works. Where we live is super safe. We live in a veteran neighborhood, and my wife and I will take turns, watching them while they're biking in the neighborhood. Although it's safe, but it's just that's what we do here in Morocco, in Jordan, in Saudi Arabia. We were kind of skeptical at first, as a natural instinct as a parent, but when we saw that they go to the theme park, they walk to the beach, My parents live on a beach house in Casablanca that's walking distance. A few times they had to call us, the security guard. He says, "Hey, your daughter is, she's here, but all the buildings looks the same. Super safe. They brought her all
Mhm.
the way to the house." So right there, that safety is huge. The sunsets, the hospitality of people, they are genuine. I can't say enough about. I took a friend of mine actually to celebrate her birthday and to Morocco, and she's here from the
Mhm.
States. And
Mhm.
upon returning, my wife took us to the airport, and her husband picked us up upon returning. As if I'm sitting in the back seat, texting my wife, my friend was talking to her husband, and he says, "I saw pictures of your trip in Morocco. This is just unreal. It's beautiful. The camel ride, the sunsets." She said, "All that." She said, "But it was a it was a feast for all senses." And
Mhm.
that comment right there just hits me right in the heart. I was like, it is true. It is, when you go there, it's one of those things that you can't really verbalize when you come back. The smile, the genuine look, people are willing to help. People in the countryside, they don't really have what we have, but they'll make sure they invite you for breakfast. We've been to people's homes in the village where they made us breakfast and crepes and pancakes. They would not take anything from us. So that type of generosity, that flame of genuine sense of life and accepting everybody and being happy and just for the sake of connection. It sounds simple, but I'm sorry, it's huge. It's, to me, it's healing. And that's the reason why we decided we chose Morocco, for not only for its rich landscaping or its sunsets or fantastic cuisines, but it's also for that setting of safety and healing. And right, Bebe?
Yes, yes, absolutely. He's absolutely right. I went to Morocco first time, 2010, and I didn't come back the same person.
Mhm.
And I've been there numerous times. Luckily, I've been blessed. And yeah, it's absolutely, absolutely beautiful. And I've met other people that have gone and they're like, it's just different when you come back from Morocco. It's just that love that you feel there is unexplainable. Unexplainable. So this is why we chose Morocco. We think Morocco is the perfect place for these healing retreats.
Well, I've also been to Morocco. I've not been as many times as you guys have been, but that's why I asked you to speak about it, because I think it's important, and it makes us more culturally aware. I think a lot of people in the States are seeking, they're constantly seeking, because we are a melting pot of people. And sometimes when people have struggles, they don't know what to do with it. They don't know what to do with those feelings. They try and reach out in their communities and try and find the root. But I think sometimes it is such a hard thing for people in the States to conceive of a place where you can have that type of healing and that type of grounding. So I think it's just really important that we paint a scene and that we lay the stage for people, because you're going to have a lot of skepticism. And no, there are people that have never been, that maybe they heard some stories of, oh, it's unsafe, or there's a lot of robbery and things of that nature. So of course, anywhere you go in the world, this is possible and this can happen. But I think it's just really important for people to walk into situations with as much information as possible and to be very wide eyed to the possibilities of progress. And I love Morocco. I've always been a fan. All of the people that I met at work, I was blessed because of the airlines. Being from the Midwest, I probably would have never had the opportunity to be around as many different people from as many different cultures as I did. And that made me a better person. That made me more open minded. Um, but there's nothing like actually walking the path and seeing the things in real life, having those experiences. I would agree with you, with your friend saying that it was a feast for the senses. That was also my impression of Morocco. So I think for those people that their curiosity might have just piqued in this conversation. Maybe you guys can talk a little bit more about the cultural experiences that they have in Morocco, like the hammams and henna and things of that nature.
I think my wife Kenya, being non-Moroccan, uh, her perspective would be more interesting because you weren't. I mean, I was born there. Hammam was something part of the rituals that we did, and I absolutely love hammam. I love having my body scrubbed, and I loved being massaged with argan oil and smelling the rose petals. And I mean, the sensation, the feeling coming out of that, it's just unexplainable. It's great. But I think it'll be interesting to talk about that since you have experienced it as an outsider of the culture.
Absolutely. Yeah, my lenses would totally be different. I agree. When I went back to Morocco in 2010, it was like those trips that, hey, you want to come to Morocco? And I was like, what? Really? So, um, Hisham is known to be very spontaneous, like
Mm-hmm.
incredibly spontaneous. I mean, not so much, but he's like, let's get ready. Let's go to Morocco. So I went and I had like literally 5 days to get ready. So we didn't
Oh, he
really
gave you
talk
5 days?
yeah, just 5 days. Well, yeah, because I was working at the time and I had some
Mm.
vacation and he's like, hey, you want to go to Morocco? And I'm like, yes, let's go.
He's talking when we were friends, before kids and before marriage.
Mhm.
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
we
the
were not.
reason that I say it, that I find it interesting, because I think a lot of flight attendants share this impulsivity to just go, go, go. And that's why I laughed inside, because I was like, oh, 5 days? He didn't just call you and say, hey, I'm leaving for Morocco today. Just grab your go bag and whatever you don't have, we'll pick up there.
Grab a duffel right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so exciting for me to just go because that was a dream for such a long time. I'm like, am I ever going to go to Morocco? But then I did. And anyhow, we didn't really get to talk too much about the cultural things that I would live there, and it was really funny when I got there. But he's like, hey, do you want to go to Hammam? And I'm like, Hammam? What's that? What is that? He goes, oh, it's going to be amazing. They're going to scrub your body. And so I go with his sister and we go there. And I'm just like, oh my God, this is absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So the menu they give you, oh, do you want to put henna on your skin? Do you want to put razul on your skin? And what does it do for your skin? And, all these different, do you want argan oil on your skin? And I was a little lost, but I said yes to everything. I said, yes, yes, of course, everything, please, everything on the
That's a good
menu.
policy to have. Just say yes, always.
Yes, yeah, exactly. What's going to happen if, yes to everything. And so that was my first hammam experience. I went in, I came out again, different body. Skin felt absolutely different. And of course, they scrub your body. So they take all the dead cells. That was a little shocking for me. I was like, oh, I'm not that clean after all, so, but it was amazing. I mean, it was everyone, like so many women were there doing the same thing. And in hammam, they do separate men and women. So it's not going to be men and women in one room. I've
Mm-hmm.
had that question before. My friend went to Morocco and I said, no, two totally different, women go to one side, men go to another side. You don't see each
Mm-hmm.
other. And, but the experience was amazing. So every time I go to Morocco, I have to have hammam at least once. And my children experienced hammam the last time we went to Morocco, and they absolutely loved it. Um, so our daughter that has ADHD, she says no to a lot of things. Oh, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, no, no. She's particular about her things, and I understand. And I said, honey, I think you're going to have an amazing time. And she's
Mm-hmm.
like, no, mom, I don't know. I'm a little skeptical. When she came out, she went in with a little frown. She came out with a huge smile. She goes, Mom, that was one of the best experiences of my life. I absolutely loved it. So she loved it. They love henna too. So in
Mm-hmm.
Morocco, they do henna and they do it anywhere. Like you can go to the souk, they have henna. You can have a
Mm-hmm.
lady come to the house and they'll do henna for you. My mother-in-law has done henna for us. And
Mm-hmm.
we always make it a celebration, a ceremony of happiness because henna is considered So when a bride gets married, they do henna. When there's
Mhm.
a birthday, they do henna. So it's pretty much something that they do when there's so much happiness, going around, going
Mhm.
on. And so my daughters like henna. I like henna. So it's amazing. And the soups are beautiful too. It's full of spices, full of color, rose petals. Uh, Smells like mint tea everywhere you go. It smells like mint everywhere you go. Every house that I have visited in Morocco, as soon as they open the door, it smells like mint.
Yeah, because
So
the mint tea. So let's
the mint
walk
tea,
people
everybody's
through.
making mint tea.
For the people that are a little shy, for example, you walk into the hammam. What does that look like? Kind of walk people through in detail of what that may look like for them.
Well, that's a great question because as an airline employee, now we fly directly from Newark to Marrakesh,
Mhm.
which had allowed a lot of crew members to experience Morocco while working, which is great. So
Mhm.
uh, everywhere you go, they have the spa with the concept of hammam. And when you make a reservation or go to the website, they have a plethora of menus. So do you want, just like we have in the Western world, do you want a massage? Do you want the hammam? Hammam is basically where they walk you through this arch room. It looks like a room from a palace. It's
Mhm.
a steam room, but it's beautifully decorated. And it's just you and the attendant. So they basically wash your entire body for you. So they give you disposable uh, undergarments,
Mhm.
or you can choose to wear a bathing suit. So
Mhm.
they rinse your body, and then they put this body wrap clay on your entire body, which feels like a massage in itself. Then they
Mhm.
give you some time in the steam room, then they come back and then they put the water, they wash you, then they come back again. And then they use this African black soap on you with eucalyptus or whatever other aroma that they have, and they ask for your preference. They apply
Mhm.
that into your skin, leave you there for a few minutes, come back, rinse you, and then they scrub you. And that's where all the dead skin comes out of your body.
Mhm.
Also feels like a massage itself, even better. Then they rinse you, then they put the shampoo in your head, then they rinse your hair, then they put
Mhm.
soap with either rose water, argan flavor, whatever that they have, or they present
Mhm.
you and you pick from the menu. Your entire body is completely washed with soap. And once again, it feels like a massage, and it's not. This is all part of the steps of hammam. Then, once they put the shampoo and once they put soap in your entire body, they rinse you again, and then they put another body wrap with some a, a scent of your choice. Then
Mhm.
they rinse you again, and then you stand up, and they invite you to walk into a stand-up shower facility with zalige and marble. Just being there is an experience itself. You wash yourself, you do what you have to do. They hand you a bathrobe. You come out to a lounge or area, depending on which facility. Some they offer you mint tea, some special Moroccan cookies, and you relax and wait in for the next service if you had opted for facial or a massage. Or so it's private, it's just you and the attendant, you're not around other people. But it's also very fair to say this is how this is being practiced and presented to everybody in a spa form.
Mhm.
However, growing up as a Moroccan person, as local, there is a hammam in every neighborhood, and they're all different prices. And that's where my wife Kenya mentioned there is a room or a hammam for men and a
Mhm.
hammam for women. So they're not mixed together. And these neighborhood hammam, how I grew up, you walk in and you're basically, if you have money, you can hire the attendant to come and scrub you.
Mhm.
But if you don't, you are going to go to the hammam just like we do here. Brush our teeth. Women go for their nails, manicure, pedicure. That's just a normal thing that women or anybody does in Morocco, twice or once a week. In addition, of course, to showering at home. But it's just a hammam experience. So for those who don't have money, they just go in and they do the whole steps by themselves. They go to the steam room, they sit down, they do their whole body by themselves. They apply the black soap, they rinse
Mhm.
themselves, then they scrub themselves. They do everything themselves. But if you have money, which is not a lot, but I'm just stating the facts as it is. Then you
Hmm.
hire the attendant that comes and do everything for you. And it's other, if you're in the men's section, there are other men doing the same thing next to you in different
Hmm.
rooms. The hot room, the medium hot room, and then there is a cold room where we do the soap and the shampoo. But we go to the spa facility where you get to experience the hammam, the Moroccan authentic experience, but in a very modern luxury setting, if that makes any sense.
Well, what I find really interesting, and this is why I was having you walk people through it, because people in the autistic or neurodivergent community sometimes do better when they have a plan and they have more details and they're walked through something, because then they can kind of conceptualize it. So I thought that was important to do for people. And another thing that I think is really important to mention and that I really like about Morocco is that hammams are for everyone. So everybody from every walk of life has access. So if I understand correctly, you could be someone of very meager means sitting in the same room in the same neighborhood hammam with someone that was from a different like socioeconomic bracket than you. So it's also a place of like interconnectivity within the community.
Absolutely.
And we don't have that a lot in the States. So I
No,
think that's a really special thing that they do. And that's why I wanted you guys to talk about it a little bit more in detail, because I think in the States, you have to have a considerable amount of money to be able to participate in these spa type activities. So there may be people that might be interested in coming on your trip, for example, and automatically think to themselves, oh, I can't afford that. Because in the States, that's something they can't afford. But in Morocco, they would be surprised what they could afford, because these are services that are community services. And you just have to find the right bracket, if you will, of what you want to experience. If you want to stay in a local area and you want to have more of the local experience by going to the local hammam, you can do that and you'd be welcomed. If you want to have more of the upscale spa experience, they have that too, and you can do that as well.
absolutely. Well said.
Well, I'm not the expert, but I've been. And so I was just trying to paint a picture from the American perspective, because I know there are going to be listeners that are thinking, wow, this sounds like a faraway place and something that's unattainable for me, when it's not.
I agree. It's 6.5 hours flight from Newark to Marrakesh.
Mhm.
It's just as much to go from Newark to California or Florida to California. So the distance hasn't been an issue anymore, but I totally understand the cultural differences and the fear of going to another place, because we did feel the same way before going to Jordan, for example.
Mhm.
Even though I fly for a living, even though my wife, by the way, was born in Managua, Nicaragua. She was raised in San Francisco, California. So
Mhm.
even though we like to think that we have a diverse cultural background, uh, we're human. We're parents. We
Mhm.
have kids. When you're a parent, you worry about the safety of your children. It doesn't matter where you are. That's
Mhm.
number one priority, regardless of what anyone is trying to explain or say. So we were concerned. We're going to Jordan. I have been, luckily, because of work, and I fell in love with it. And I
Mhm.
was mesmerized because I've never been. To me, it was. It sounds like I'm changing topics here, but I'm really not. I'm just trying to be authentic and speak about my experience firsthand, vulnerably. I've never
Mhm.
expected. I loved the food. I loved how safe it was in Jordan. Of course, I did the tour by myself before I came back and told my wife and my daughters. I went
Mhm.
to Petra. I went to Wadi Rum, glamping. It was absolutely marvelous. It was beautiful. Um, but what really attracted what the sparks of my core was those are people from the same country sharing the same love, I should say the intense love, to their nationalism being Jordanian from
Mhm.
an outsider perspective. I'm just walking you through what I saw in my
Yeah,
experience.
of course.
I was so confused because they're half of them are Muslim and the other half are Christians, and but they're
Mhm.
both Arabs speaking the same language. holding each
Mhm.
other's hand. And it was, even to me as a worldwide traveler, as I like to consider myself, super accepting, super open-minded, and I still was like, hold on a second, you're I had to process that they're from the same country. Joseph is celebrating Christmas, and Kamal, his buddy, best friend, is getting ready to buy some stuff for Ramadan. And
Mhm.
they're both buddies. To them, it's not something that they think about. They just were raised like that. To them, it's normal. So when they go
Well,
outside,
I think it's important, not to cut you off, but I think it's important to have this conversation because I think people are under the misconception that in the Middle East that it is just predominantly people practicing Islam, which historically was not the case. There may be more people technically that practice Islam in some of these countries, but historically they were always very mixed cultures. So if you like to read and if you like to adventure, it's worth going down the rabbit hole about some of that stuff because I think sometimes things can be painted in a way to manipulate your inner skepticism about things that you don't know about. And sometimes we, by default, through not knowing, fears are activated in us that generally are not a good thing. So I always really encourage people to reach out to other people, do their own research, read. Reading is a big one, but step out of your comfort zone and have conversations with people, especially if you think it's going to be a hard one or you're uncertain, because you're often surprised.
most definitely, yes. And it's understandable. Like I said earlier, I can't emphasize that enough. As a parents, everything is out of the window. You just want to make sure your kids are going to a place where it's safe. And that was not a concern. I mean, we walked in the streets at night. We went from a restaurant. We had a driver set up that took us to all the major sites, like to
Mm-hmm.
Petra and glamping and camel riding and all the major sites. But at night, he is a family person with kids. We just took Uber from the hotel we were staying to downtown to have dinner. And while waiting for the Uber, we decided to go, and there was a flea market or an open
Mm-hmm.
market at night with children playing by themselves. My daughters were, first they were kind of holding each other's hand and normal intense, and then they become like wandering, checking out other what this person is selling, what the other person is selling. It was a
Mm-hmm.
wonderful soul cleansing experience where even when others connects with your children, you can just see that, you can feel it, that it's
Mm-hmm.
really safe. So I'm not sure how we got that feeling, because of how we are here where we live. Everywhere
Mm-hmm.
we go, like I said, whether it's a theme park or a restaurant, they cannot go. Even during their sport
Mm-hmm.
practices, we want to make sure that we're standing by the door outside when they're using the facilities, whether to wash their hands or um, we have to be careful. But that's not the case when we take them to Morocco, when we went to Jordan, when we went to Saudi Arabia. They felt so free. We felt amazing connection with all these people who was like, come to my house. They're so giving, so
Mm-hmm.
generous. um, and that reminded me of how I grew up too, because if we want to keep it super super raw, I
Yes,
sadly
I
had to
like to
see
keep it authentic here.
the core. Subconsciously, I had to change the core of who I really am without
Mm-hmm.
realizing. Old version of me, if I hear people saying, oh, I'm coming to whatever your hometown and bringing my kids, I used to say, oh my God, my wife is an amazing cook, we have a beautiful home, come stay with us, you don't have to worry about anything. And as I'm saying this, people are looking at me, and I was so genuine about it. I wasn't selling
Mm-hmm.
them anything, I didn't want anything. That's just what we do, being a Moroccan. But now, seeing that people don't really receive that very well because they think you want something in return, or it does, or they said, oh, you're funny. I'm like, so I had to change. Now I see myself when people are saying the same thing, my response again subconsciously is, oh my God, you guys are going to have a great time. Enjoy your vacation.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not really me, because me, who I am and how I grew up, if you come, I'll be happy to pick you up. Come to my house. We
Mhm.
would love to meet or connect both families. That's what we did, connection, inviting people. But you go with the setting. What's normal, it is not always the same way where we are. We have to, if we don't take the chance to go somewhere else and connect with people from that area. Like I said, I travel all over the world, as you know, Tabitha, and
Mhm.
having the amount of fear, not fear, but like a justifiable concern being
Mhm.
I'm taking my $3 to a country I know nothing about. I
But
have to
that's the
take.
best thing you can do. And honestly, I think it's important that we have this conversation because we have that similar background. And I haven't forgotten about you, Kenya. So we're going to loop you in here soon.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
the importance of making good world citizens. So just because my children have autism and they may have a few more struggles does not change the plan for me to always make them good global citizens. So I have to take them to different places, to be around different cultures, to have these experiences so it opens up their mind. And the earlier you do that, the better. Because if you don't expose your children and they don't have the ability to, see, hear, taste, have that experience, how can you ever expect them to just read something from a book and be like, oh, I understand that? They don't understand that. So if you want them to be open minded about Islam, for example, maybe you don't know about it. Maybe you don't have that in your culture or in your community, but you want your children to know about it and be sensitive to other people. Find a friend, find a community, find a country you can go to give your child that experience. And you're going to be pleasantly surprised. Every single time that I've taken my kids to a different country, I mean, I don't want to say I've not taken them in the US, but you're right, the experience is different. Going from state to state in the US, even with the cultural differences that we have state by state or neighborhood by neighborhood, is not the same as taking your child on a European vacation, taking them to Africa, taking them to the Middle East, taking them to Asia. Like, there's something that happens to humans when you sit them in that uncomfortability and they really soak it in. And kids are sponges. So the way that they soak up that culture is different than adults. And I think it's just a great way to make great human beings. So travel early and often with your kids.
Definitely.
Absolutely. Agreed.
So, Kenya, from the non flight attendant, because here we're rattling on. Give us your perspective from the non airline employee, frequent traveler parent perspective when it comes to your kids.
Beautiful question. Uh, I so again, I'm going to go back to our daughter that has ADHD. She's doesn't like when we tell her we're going to travel. We're all excited. We're all excited to
Mm-hmm.
travel, go to a new place, or go to the same place and have a different experience, beautiful experience. She goes, "Yeah, I think I'm good." I'm like, "No, honey," I said, "You have to come with us. You can't stay." But the moment she starts packing, does her thing, but the moment we take off, she's a different person.
Mm-hmm.
Incredibly happy and incredibly uh, just open to all the new experiences. And
Mm-hmm.
that right there makes me, not that it doesn't make me happy when I see my other two, but because she has been through her struggles and continues having her struggles, seeing
Mm-hmm.
her in a different space, seeing her thriving in a different environment makes her dad and I so incredibly happy.
Mm-hmm.
Like full, our heart is full. So, Hisham being in the airline industry for almost 25 years, I have gotten super used to it.
Right.
Like, just like, it's normal to me, you know? So he's like, hey, sometimes he's like, hey, this is my schedule. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to prepare for this and I have to prepare for that and I have to do this and I have to do that. So it just becomes so normal
Mm-hmm.
for all of us, really. The girls are so used to it. I'm so used to it. But we are very grateful for that perk of being able to travel,
Mm-hmm.
and not only being able to travel, but also being able to travel as a family. I think it's
Right.
very, very important that we give our children an experience to see other environments besides the one they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So if we go from here to California, the experience is going to be the same pretty much. But if we
Mm-hmm.
go from here to Jordan or Saudi Arabia or Morocco, the experience is going to be completely different. Everything is going to be different. Food is going to be different. Tradition, culture,
Mm-hmm.
uh, even the way kids are different than here. And sometimes the girls are like, oh, mom, they're super incredibly warm. Like a kid will come and just hug them. And that's not
Mm-hmm.
something that we see here. Why? Because the platform is different here. We always tell our kids, hey, be careful, be
Mm-hmm.
careful, be careful. You don't hear that in Morocco. We don't practice that in Morocco with our kids either. We're not like, hey, be
Mm-hmm.
careful. They're like, hey, we're going to have breakfast and we're going to be out all day. We'll be back at 5. I'm like, all right, have a great time. And then they
Mm-hmm.
come back at 5 o'clock. Just, you know, it's just a beautiful, beautiful experience. So we're definitely grateful for it all. And I highly recommend that other people do that with their children too. Those are the memories you're going to leave with for them, a legacy.
Mm-hmm.
Traveling for me is a legacy that you leave for your
Mm-hmm.
children.
I
Putting
like
them
that you
out
say
there.
legacy.
Yeah, it is to show them different cultures and different traditions besides the ones they know here. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very, very important that we do that for our children. They will remember it they're not going to remember the toy that you bought them when they were 5 or 10, but
Mm-hmm.
they're going to say, oh, we went to Jordan. Oh, we went to Morocco, or we went to any other country that has so much culture and so much richness in every, area. So,
Which brings me to my next point. So, for those that are sitting on the fence, that are thinking to themselves, oh, I could never afford that, right? Like, we know we were part of the airline industry. They probably figure, oh, those are perks for airline people that we can't do. So, this retreat that you're focusing your energy on right now, put it in perspective for people as far as costs and what they'll get out of the type of retreat and the type of experience so that they can digest it a little bit in their mind. Because, we all know people that maybe, for example, they can conceptualize, all right, I'm going to take the kids or I'm going to take the grandkids to Disney once in their lifetime. And then they go to the Disney website and then they see the prices and they're like, whoa, that's a lot of money, but I must take my children to Disney or I must take my grandchildren to Disney at least once in their lifetime. So I'm willing to drop X amount of thousands of dollars to give my kids the Disney experience. So let's paint that picture for people a little bit so that they can digest it and compare it, because most people have probably done a little bit of research as far as the amount of money that it would go into a Disney vacation versus the type of service that you're providing.
Uh, Thank you for that question. It's such an amazing question. Sometimes we get naturally consumed with the emotion and how passionate we are about certain topics, and that we either fail to verbalize the intent core of what we're trying to convey, or so that's a great question. I appreciate that. Before I answer that question, I would like to emphasize in for communication purposes that the whole entire intent for why we decided to carve this space is for us. We felt like um, we don't want to focus on stories that broke us.
Mm-hmm.
We want to focus on what we did to thrive and to come through and to break through, and that's
Mm-hmm.
what's so important, because there are plenty of people that are willing to sit down and tell you what's happened to them and made
Right.
them feel. We don't want to do that. We want to talk about what we did to overcome this, what tools and resources that was available to us that made us realize, wow, we can do this, we can thrive, and therefore we have the duty and obligation and the ethic and moral. We have no choice but to spread this. The more people heal, the better this world will be. So initially, we wanted to just pass on this information. And it started with just having conversation with people and saying, hey, listen, you're not the only one. Let's talk about a topic, whatever it is. Um, Parenthood, having children with ADHD, who such a gift and such a blessing because they are so creative, and how we as a parents came from a clueless space of not knowing what's going on, trying to just figure it out. First of all, just understand what it is, what is
Yep.
it? And it took a long journey for us to just even understand what it is. And now we know, and we say it with pride, that it's a gift. They're very creative. They're very deep. They're very intellectual. They're very smart. The way they see things and process things is completely different. It is up to us to reach out and do what it takes to learn and set the right environment for them to thrive. So
Right.
we wanted to do this retreat. And then there was so many logistics we had to learn, the type of location where to stay. We are catering to, as Americans, we are addressing first and foremost an American audience, people that would live in the same community. It is open for everybody from all over the world, of course, but
Right.
being American, addressing American audience, trying to serve the community of sharing the same awareness and mindfulness in order for them to have and embrace this awakening, get the tools, get the resources, meditation, do practices. Let's have this deep conversation about whatever it is. Then we decided on Marrakesh. We decided on studying all the logistics. So the intent core for this is healing and to carve a space for where people can travel in a cultural, rich, magnificent setting to naturally go within, self-reflect, and take that inner journey just for themselves. We're speaking from as a parent. We don't have the luxury during the 24 hours each and every day to just sit and think, because we have things
Right.
to do. There's a million things to do. But for us to intentionally, as people, as humans, intentionally press the brake and go within and say why, we become very mindful of our actions and reactions. It's such a luxury. We're not afforded that knowledge and that awareness. It's through that inner journey that we discover who we are, we nurture our feelings, and we grow and we expand in order for us to fertilize the soil and prepare it for a much bigger picture, for growth and expansion. And everyone deserves this, right? Everyone deserves to to press the brakes, to relax, to take the journey within, to self-reflect in order to become a better human being, more patient, more accepting, more inclusive, more, instead of just seeing everyone and the whole world through their own lenses, again made by our own belief system that we never really looked at or challenged. We believe and we take it as a reality. Well, in fact, it's not. Now, price and cost wise, as we just started and we're just scrolling, this is just the launching. Our inaugural retreat is going to be October 26th to October 31st.
Okay.
We're staying in a luxury riad. For folks who don't know what a riad is, it's like an old, authentic home or palace that has a courtyard, a water fountain, or a pool in the middle, and it's just like white drapes. It has plants, greenery, a garden. Sometimes they have a pool outside. The one we're staying at right now has a massive pool outside. It has a courtyard, and each room is uniquely decorated. Just think of it as like a royal old ancient home in a very modern setting at the same time. No, excuse me. Most riads have 6, 8 to 10 rooms. So therefore, the service as a guest, even though it is a hotel, it's a very personalized service. They ask you what you want for breakfast, how you want your coffee, do you need a ride? So they actually help you, like work on every single need you have during your stay with them. So we're staying in a riad. We're doing morning yoga in the morning, evening meditation, breakfast at the Riyadh, of course, and we have guided tours to several cultural sites. So as attendees can actually have an idea of one of the palaces. We're going to Bahia Palace, for example, which is ancient, full of history. We're going to the Secret Garden, which is usually have been one of the favorite places for yogis and people who do meditation, just because they appreciate the beauty of the gardens and the space and the mosaic marbles. It's just a nice space to just be in an open space where there is gardens and olive trees, orange groves everywhere, the birds singing. It really helps that inner journey that we're trying to invite guests to uh, embrace. And then we're doing the Hammam Experience. We're doing rooftop dinners. Uh, we're doing camel ride, watching sunsets, and having a dinner in a tent, watching a plethora of several Moroccan folklores, bands and fireworks and belly dancers. And so, yes, the days are started with morning yoga and they end with evening meditation, which is a self reflection circles where we can allow the attendees to talk and practice affirmations, speak about, reach out. There is a community that makes them feel just through the energy and the presence of being together that, hey, you're heard, you're understood, we can relate, you're not alone. If you want to talk about it, we're there, whatever the topic is. We are all souls living human experience. There is no differences here. The cost for this particular retreat is $3,500, including all the tours, all the spa, transportation, excursions in the waterfalls. We're going to the fields of saffron where they can have a tour at the garden, lunch looking over the Atlas Mountains, soak their feet with like a melting 27/7 aromas for their feet. It's absolutely marvelous. It's packed of beautiful stuff and also allowing them to have space and time for themselves. So it's $3,500 per retreat, includes all of that I said and more, not including the airfare. However, since the intent for this is for people to take that opportunity to heal, it is open for parents with children with disability who never thought that they can actually travel with their kids. It could be for families together. It could be for colleagues for work, through which that we can cater to their own budget. We can make a special. Let's say there is a 5 women who wants to travel and they have kids with them. It's going to be a different agenda, different price. But for this particular one, we priced it at $3,500, including everything, but not airfare.
So basically, you're giving the full Moroccan experience for adults only for $3,500. They have to get themselves there and get themselves home.
Once they are there, from the minute they get to the airport, there's a personal driver, luxury transportation taking them to the Riyadh, welcome mint tea and Moroccan pastries, check-in, rest area, sunrise or sunset meditation, dinners at the Riyadh, rooftop dinners, guided tours, excursions, camel ride, dinner at the tent. The one we have in December and January, it has 3 days at the Riyadh in the heart of Marrakesh, and 3 days we're taking off glamping at the Sahara Desert,
Okay.
completely outside of Marrakesh.
So you already
And
have a few more cooking then. This is the first of many.
we have one. The inaugural is October 26th to October 31st. We have one in December, and for 2026 we have one starting January every other month. January,
Wow.
March, May, July, September, and November.
That's impressive.
Yeah, and it's all stated.
It takes a lot to impress me, Hicham. I'm impressed.
Thank you, Tabitha. It's all stated in our website with the dates and a brief agenda of what's going to be covered in that particular retreat.
Wow. Yeah, so for anybody that's interested, we're going to plug all the details into the bottom so you can access the website. There'll be contact information. If you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. If you need extra help, I'm happy to do that.
There was one thing, Tabitha, that speaking of paying the universe back and paying it back forward, parents needs to, everyone, not especially parents, but everyone needs the help of a community, tools, resources in order for them to feel validated. You're not the only one. Whatever the issue is, we got you. We understand. Let's talk about it. whatever it is that you're going through can be overwhelming. But the mistake that we did, and I'm have absolutely no problem admitting it, is that the side effect of not being awoken is that we go outward. We
Mm-hmm.
blame the outside world. We blame the cashier that she was rude. We blame the siblings that didn't call us. We blame the parents who didn't give us fill every single need that our soul is craving. So everything is outward. Once you get the awakening, the mindfulness, pressing the brakes, intentionally going within, everything starts going inward. You start
Mm-hmm.
taking accountability for your own thoughts, your own actions. You start acknowledging and facing those triggers and having the courage to go deep to find out, why is it that I'm triggered this way? What's the root for this? And that's where healing takes place. And my wife had met an amazing soul. She is a mom, and her kids went to the same school as ours.
Mm-hmm.
And she happened to be a very, very successful author, psychologist, and she speaks all over the world. In fact, we just attended her virtual workshop where she
Okay.
talks about attachment style. We have to, and not knowing what attachment style we have, how
Mm-hmm.
are we going to be able to be equipped to understand what attachment style our children's are? The
Sure.
bonding, the energy is contagious. Your uh, child starts screaming. Their energy automatically affect us, and that's going to be a cycle bouncing back and forth if we don't have the tools to reset ourselves, reground ourselves. How are we ever going to be able to be there for that child or a colleague or anybody to help them reset themselves or give them the space? So tools and resources are very important. So she has been an amazing resource of help just because of her expertise in the field, all backed up by science. We attended her. She is the author of this book that I would like to share with parents, and it's
Okay.
called Empower Your Child to Heal. And
Mm-hmm.
her name is Dr. Skylar Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to say much about the book, just so as I don't want to ruin it for the audience. But if you are um, curious about tools and resources, how to understand any bonding relationship between physical pain and emotional pain, how to deal with your child, how to heal your inner child, and the one you gave birth to, if that makes any sense. Yourself
Mm-hmm.
as a child deep inside. This is an amazing book, and we are so grateful, my wife and I, for how amazing she's been. Uh, Humble, a mom with two beautiful daughters, and she invited us to her book signing book, and she's so humble,
Mm-hmm.
and she's expert in dealing with children with ADHD, children with disabilities, and as a therapist she deals with all kind of people from all different paths, and she's so happy to serve the community and share all the tools and resources in order for everyone to just know that we have the power to heal. We don't
Mm-hmm.
expect it to come from. It's time to just stop blaming the outside world, the circumstances, the past. It is time to do something about it. We can thrive. We can take the inner journey. We can travel. We can have the hard, uncomfortable conversation. We can walk the dark alleys of honoring our shadows. It's okay. It's not comfortable, but it's okay. And it's necessary in order for us to be grounded, to be healed. And we can be a better human being, better parents, better colleague. The world will be better. So I think it's an amazing book. And once again, it's called Empower Your Child to Heal by Dr. Skylar Hamilton.
Well, we're going to have to bring her on then, aren't we?
I think that would be amazing because, like I said, she is an expert in the field. She speaks all over the world. And I don't think I should say much. So we have benefited not only from the friendship we have with her and her being a mom, but she has YouTube channels also where she talks. She has
She's on
episodes
Spotify
that we,
too.
Okay.
yeah.
Well, look,
Yeah.
all information is good information, especially whenever it comes to helping parents, because let's face it, we're all parents. We're all navigating the best that we can. And there's no guidebook for how to be a parent of a child with any disability. So that's another big goal of this podcast, along with the work that you guys are doing. We're just trying to put some good energy and good work out into the world and hopefully help some people.
And we appreciate that, Tabitha.
Absolutely. I wanted to add something also. A lot of times, and having a conversation with you, Tabitha, something stayed with me the other day. You said that you said some experts, they just know the science behind it. But some experts have also been through that dark alley of having to uh, care for a child with a disability, and she has been through that. So her own daughter, she wrote this book because of her daughter. She has been through a lot with her daughter, and she wrote this book thinking of her daughter. And she does say that in the book. And it's just beautifully written, and it talks about children that are neurodivergent, and also how it affects their gut health, and just speaks a little bit about everything. She talks about how it affects us as parents. So it's definitely a wonderful tool for parents that are walking this path, like we are, like you are, to read this book and dive into it.
Well, like I said, send her my way. I'm happy to talk to anybody. And if she's open to it, I'm sure there's lots of other people that would love to hear what she has to say.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Well, besides that, guys, I think we've covered your retreat pretty well. Is there anything that you think that we've missed? No?
No, we just can't say enough that everyone has the obligation and must take the actions in order for them to overcome. We can't drive forward looking backward. We have to overcome the past. We have to. The more we focus on traumas or past or insecurities, or we are all in this together. We are a community of souls living a human experience. Everyone deals with whatever it is that happened to us, whether it's grief, whether it's loss of a job, or these are all tests and all roadblocks that we are intended to go through in order for us to be prepared to have the mindfulness and the awakening that we have as beautiful souls. And we are supposed to do the work to heal in order for us to continue being the lanterns for each other's life. Be inclusive, be understanding, be accepting, having more peace, more grounding, more joy. Otherwise, if we can't see ourselves, how can we see someone else? If we can't accept ourselves, how can we ever accept someone else? It's so easy to just point the fingers, Yeah, this annoys me. I don't like this. Well, but if we have peace and we start from within to heal that inner version of us and listen to their needs and provide them with whatever things that simply was not provided by our upbringing. Our parents were not. They did the best they could. Our circumstances, we make the best out of it. Everyone, like they say in psychology, drop the story. Not that it's not important or it shouldn't be validated. It should be. But let's focus on the emotional state of being and the meaning we attach to those events that impacted our personality, that therefore we act and react a certain way. If we don't pay attention to this cycle, then we're just gonna do autopilot action reactions, and it's never gonna change. So we have to change. We have to take that journey in order for us to see the world and ourselves with nothing but love and grace.
I agree with you. I couldn't have said it better myself. I think we're probably at a point where we can wrap up for today. Okay. And I'd love to have you guys back, but I will push this out there as soon as possible. Is there a deadline for your trip? If someone wants to book your trip, do you have a certain date where after that point, the trip is full, is what I mean. Because your trip starts October 26th. So
we have one spot available for October 26th. So if there is a like-minded soul who shares the same intent and have the same vibrate the same frequency, we absolutely would be thrilled and to have them join us once spots available.
Okay.
Yeah.
So anybody that has any questions, we'll put all the details down there, contact information. Feel free to contact me as well if you have any questions, and I can always reach out as well. Is there anything else, guys?
No, thank you, Tabitha, for this space, and
Thank
again
you
for all
so
you
much,
do.
Tabitha, for this.
It was a great conversation. It was great to catch up with you guys, and I hope that you come back so that we can talk about everything that you guys have experienced, and I'm sure you're going to have a lot more to say in the future. So it was lovely to have you.
Thank you very
so
much.
much,
Have an
Tabitha.
abundant day.
See you soon.
Bye.
Thank you.
We are at a pivotal point in American history. We do not have the luxury to remain silent. Programs are disappearing every day. We hope that this podcast raises awareness and sparks a sense of advocacy in you. We all can make a difference. The important thing is to start. See you next time.
Okay, hello guys, welcome back. We have a special guest today. We have Ed Rowe from the college internship program in Bloomington. And thanks for coming and speaking to us there, and I'll just let you take it away.
Yeah, well, welcome to Bloomington.
Well, thank you.
Thank you for coming, Tabitha. We're actually here